Welcome back. I had a feeling I'd be seeing you again. Here for some more tales of the obscure and unusual? Well, you're familiar with Kashyyyk, right? Everyone's at least heard of it. And the Wookiees have got to be one of the most famous species in the galaxy. If you ever have a run through the mid-rim, you're bound to dock in Ruk-Roro or Kashyyyk at least once. It's a beautiful place. Beats the hell out of Tatooine, that's for sure. But it's got a dark side to it, like every place else. Maybe you've even heard stories about the Shadowlands, the darkest depths of Kashyyyk's planetary forest. Take it from someone who's been there. The stories don't even come close to capturing the eeriness of that place.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
Kashyyyk is one hell of a planet. It's a forest world, but that name doesn't really do it justice. The whole planet, except for a few oceans, is covered by the biggest forest you've ever seen. That forest is full of thousands of different kinds of Roshir trees, which are absolutely enormous. If you've been to or seen pictures of Kashyyyk, one of the Wookiees' coastal cities, then you're probably imagining the kinds of Roshirs that grow along the coast. Those are hundreds of meters tall, and they're tiny for Kashyyyk. The Roshirs of the deep forest, the ones you'll see if you're ever in Ruk-Roro, grow to several kilometers in height. The deep forest Wookiees divide their planet into 7 levels, with the 7th being the highest and the level they live on. That level represents the canopy, and it's plenty bright during the day. Most visitors to Kashyyyk, the smart ones at least, stay up there with the Wookiees, where it's safe. Apart from the occasional incursions of Mycals or Kinrath, the canopy of Kashyyyk's forest is one of the most beautiful places in the galaxy. The Wookiees are artists with wood, and their cities are as beautiful as the tangle of branches they're built in. During the day, shafts of sunlight break through the upper canopy to light the treetops, and at night, the Wookiee cities come to life with the light of thousands of homemade lamps. But we're not here to talk about the treetops. Each level of Kashyyyk's forest below the canopy is darker and more dangerous than the level above it. The forest is crammed with living creatures from top to bottom. But the lower you go, the more vicious they get. For a level or two below the canopy, the predators are mostly average-sized and kept in check by the Wookiees, and there's still sunlight to a degree. On the lower levels, though, it gets hard to tell day from night, and the predators start getting particularly nasty. On the lowest level of the forest, enormous roots arch overhead and block out the last traces of light to make it down that far, making the place permanently dark. That's why the Wookiees call that part of the forest the Shadowlands. There's no place in the galaxy quite like the Shadowlands. There's enormous trees as far as the eye can see, their trunks stabbing up through the mist and out of sight far above. You can just barely make out the tangles of the lower branches, covered with leaves, moss, and vines. Closer still are the roots of the trees, which are as massive and tangled as the branches. The Roshir roots make the Shadowlands a maze, since many of them arch over or are only half buried in the ground, forming huge walls that can be hard to find a way around. And from top to bottom, those roots aren't just covered in moss and vines, but in spider webs. The cries of 1,000 beasts echo through the trees at all hours, and sometimes you can hear distant horns from Wookiee hunting parties. The actual forest floor is always shrouded in mist, and it's choked with corpses and debris. You could probably find some interesting things scavenging the bodies down there, but it's a death sentence to stay in one place in the Shadowlands for long, so I wouldn't suggest trying it. The Shadowlands are home to many, many predators capable of easily taking down a human being, and there are probably many more in the obscure parts of the forest still waiting to be discovered. We'd be here all week if I tried to list all of them, but there are 3 in particular that you should be wary of if you ever find yourself down in the Shadowlands. The first is the Catan. You've probably heard of those before. They're lizard mammals and large enough for a Wookiee to ride one as a mount, with sharp teeth, horns, and claws. The Katarn are masters of stealth, ferocious ambush hunters that used to prey on the Wookiees, or so the Wookiees say. They're not exclusive to the Shadowlands. They can use their claws to climb the trunks of the Roshir trees, though they're still very rare in the upper branches. But when the Wookiees hunt the Katarn, which they do as part of several important rituals, they descend to the Shadowlands, where the beasts are the most common. The Wookiees see the Katarn as their rivals. Their legends claim that the Katarn were once the dominant species of Kashyyyk, and that being hunted by them was what gave the Wookiees the strength and inner fire they needed to overthrow the Katarn and become the new dominant species. Someday, their elders claim, the roles will reverse once again, and the Katarn will rule once more. The other two big predators in the Shadowlands are varieties of spider, the Viper Kinrath and the Wishok. Viper Kinrath look like the ordinary Kinrath that stalk Kashyyyk's treetops, as well as the caves of Dantooine and a few other worlds, but they're reddish in color, much tougher, and 10 times as dangerous. Their venom is incredibly potent, and they swarm in the Shadowlands, attacking interlopers with webs, pincers, and fangs, but even they pale in comparison to the Wishok, which you might know as web weavers. Wishoks are the biggest spiders you'll ever see, and they're really damn intelligent. They work in groups, can track you for over a kilometer, and are stealthy as hell. Most of their victims don't even see them coming until they pounce. And once a Wishok attacks, they only need a few moments to subdue their prey. Their webbing is thick and near impossible to escape, and their venom is some of the most potent in the galaxy. The Wishok is the most dangerous predator on Kashyyyk, apart from the Terentatek, that is, a few of which are known to have lived in the Shadowlands in the past. The Shadowlands are one of the most predator-infested places in the galaxy, but that's not the only reason why they're rightfully feared. It's hard to understand if you've never been there, but there's something wrong with the place itself. Just being there is creepy. It's because the Shadowlands aren't just literally dark, they feel dark. The Wookiees aren't immune to the effect either. They've mythologized the Shadowlands as a symbol of murder, corruption, and darkness, a kind of animal state given form. Some of their legends hint that there's something sinister down there, an ancient darkness more dangerous than any beast. And those legends are true. There's an ancient machine in the darkest depths of the Shadowlands, a computer far older than you could ever imagine. Everything in the immediate area has grown around it, as if the machine came before them. It doesn't look all that special, but if you see it in person, you know just by being near it that there's something wrong with it. Like the Shadowlands, it feels dark, but much more intensely. It's clearly something that's been forgotten for a long time, and you get the feeling that maybe it should have stayed that way. The only name I know for the device is the Builder Forge. The computer interface doesn't work anymore, at least not as far as anyone can tell, but the story goes that when it did, it claimed to have been a monument to an ancient empire, all that remains of its builder's ancient settlement on Kashyyyk. It's said that the computer's records indicate that the machine had been a terraforming device of some kind, placed on the planet to make it suitable for mass agriculture. The machine claimed to have experienced a malfunction tens of thousands of years ago, and it blamed said malfunction for the rapid growth and evolution of Kashyyyk's trees and predators. I don't know if that machine actually created Kashyyyk's forests, but I'm pretty sure about one thing. It probably created the Shadowlands. The Builder Forge is the source of the darkness that pervades the forest floor, the thing that inspires the bloodthirst of the Wishok and the Katarn. That machine is tainted, that's for sure, and its taint has spread throughout the Shadowlands. Well, I think that's enough for one night. I hope I've satisfied your curiosity about the Shadowlands. Remember, if you're ever on Kashyyyk, just keep to the treetops, okay? Well, I should be heading out now. I'm sure I'll see you again real soon.